Hello and good evening. It's Karen Hazelwood here, and Karen's cooking tonight, and we're going to use a different power tool tonight. And the power tool we're looking at is the quick cooker. I have started with a frozen tenderloin. It's frozen. The funny thing that this packaging says is not to cook it frozen, to always cook it thawed. Well, this power tool, the quick cooker, allows us to break that rule. And look at the inside. Isn't it beautiful? Stainless steel. It is a beauty. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that frozen tenderloin right there, right in the machine. I'm going to dry this up. Yes. We got our towel. Got that cleaned back up. And now what we're going to do is, you can't cook in a pressure cooker without some water in it too. We'll always have to have at least half a cup of water or more. And so I am, because this is Taco Tuesday, and we're going to have shredded pork tenderloin, and I am going to use this tomato, and I'm using, this is some tomatoes that Bob and I put up. We canned it a year ago. Went out to the farmer's market and got a whole box of tomatoes, and came home or actually I guess we got a couple of boxes of tomatoes, and we came home and canned. That's not all I want to put in there. I have some, they're called tame jalapenos, and they are so yummy, and we love the flavor so much. I had part of an onion one evening, and I said, I'm just going to put it inside our tamed jalapenos, and I'm going to throw some of those on top, keep some of them for our street tacos. I don't have the crunchy tacos, but I do like a flour tortilla. Going to put this aside because those are going to be part of our condiments for our street tacos. So I got some jalapeno in there. I'm going to go ahead and show you. Some jalapenos in there, some onion, my tenderloin, and some tomato juice. And I'm going to add some of this tame, it's pickled jalapenos. We don't think it's that hot. It's nowhere like real pickled jalapenos, these tame ones. So the key to a quick cooker, pressure cooker, is always that lid has got to be on perfectly, okay? And up here is a quick release to release pressure. Sometimes when you're cooking, you want it out in a faster rate, and you want to release all the steam out, and that's pretty much what it sounds like. Or sometimes you want it to slowly release on its own. We got this little red, Bob thought it was lit up once, because I'll tilt it for you. The red is actually kind of metallic, so it actually always looks like a light is shining. And I don't know if you can hear that, but each time, and here again, I'm working backwards. I always feel like they said Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. She did everything that Fred Astaire did, but she did it backwards. So when I stand here backwards, I can't quite get the lid on right. Come on. Close. That's why. So what I like to do is always make sure that you kind of like look around it and make sure it's on there smoothly. The edge is nice and even. And then we're going to look on the front, because this is, again, quick cooker helps you out, pre-program. We got this dial. We can do cook times. We can do custom. We can set up different pressures, but we can also look here and see what we're doing. They've got searing, So you don't have to sear like a slow cooker where you're searing on the stove and then you're putting in a slow cooker. We've got steaming, slow cook, proofing. We also have over on this, as we keep spinning, it comes over here. We've got chicken and poultry, beef and pork. And that is where we are. So we're going to hit the start button. It's got the lock. I've got my lock indicators on. I'm going to go up here and make sure. That's often something that I always have to look and remember. Make sure I have it closed and I don't have my steam release. So this is starting to heat up all by itself. We're going to set it and we're going to let it sit here while we get to work on some other things. And I don't know why I'm putting the lid on that because we're going to be using this. So I got my favorite, my little baby here. My favorite little baby. Well, actually, my doggies are my favorite little babies. There it is. I'm looking for my can opener because we're going to have some Mexican rice. And I'm going to pour in my 2 cups of rice. And I've got my measuring cup over here. I want to get 2 cups of liquid. I'm actually going to try to do a little bit more than 2 cups because of the fact that I am using liquid and solid. And so because I'm using a liquid that is somewhat solid, I do want to have a little bit more going on. Now, this is the can opener. And this can opener is pretty awesome, but it doesn't go on the side. It goes on the top. And the way this can opener works is you just sit it on the top. You get it between the 2 pieces. There's 2 discs down there. And once you start turning the dial, it will grab hold. Now, sometimes I can't tell when I get all the way around. So I like to see that right now I'm at the nutritional findings. And you'll find some cans, the metal, I think, is pretty tough. And other cans, the metal must be thinner. I could feel that it was a little different. Now, what you do now, how do I get this off? You back turn. And the minute you back turn it, you see that it just moves a little bit, it comes off. Now, on the side of our can opener is this itty bitty bird beak. If you see it right there's our bird beak. And it just shuts. And what we do is we grasp a hold of the can lid and we lift it off. You need the bird beak because the way that the can cuts, it smooths this edge down and it smooths this edge down. Now, the other cool thing is you can actually kind of push the lid if you got if you use half of something. I like to do the dog food because when I take half of the dog food, there's our 2 cups of somewhat liquid. When I do the dog food and I'm using half the can, then I can put the cap on it, press it down, and it almost feels like it seals it on. I keep thinking there's got to be some crafting too that you could do where you could, if you were making a little kid's kitchen. My grandma Hazelwood, Lois Hazelwood, she made us a kitchen once. And when we were kids, and she opened all the cans from the bottom. She opened all the boxes from the bottom and sealed them back up and made us she lived in Minneapolis, and made us a little a little grocery store to shop in. She even had, because she was in the basement and they had the laundry chute, she even had a grocery cart for us to play with, that they would sit under the laundry chute and the laundry would just fall in the grocery cart. I already feel a little tiny bit. I could just feel the tiniest bit of heat, but it really contains the heat well, but just something, I felt just this little air. Rotel tomatoes. I always wonder, why don't I use more green chilies? So I've got my 2 cups of rice. I had 2 cups of chunky liquid, because that was my tomato juice, and the Rotel. And I'm not going to add, I was thinking about adding onion, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to add any onion. I told you before, I like to keep the lid when I'm working, keep it in the microwave because it keeps it out of my area. I'm going to put this in the microwave for 15 minutes. I'm going to check on it after 15 minutes. Sometimes it seems like the rice is done, and sometimes it needs a few more minutes. So we're going to go ahead, start that out on its 15-minute journey. Going to look at my pressure cooker. It's the light is just turning round and round. So I'm going to set these 2 things aside. Now this morning, you know, I had my grater going, my microplane. Try to get these there. And I got my little table here. On the edge of my table, I got this little white tray. And I just want to kind of prettily make a little serving. It's just me and Bob and I for supper. Me and Bob for us Southerners. Bob and I are having dinner for everybody that likes to be a little checking everybody's grammar. And yes, I did teach ELA, English Language Arts, and I do know proper grammar, and I do know how to have a conversation with somebody. So, lettuce. Here is some of, I'm going to go sit that there, the green leaf lettuce that I got in my Misfit vegetable box. I have enjoyed that little box of vegetables that got delivered to my house. And this is the salad chopper. I've used this before. I like this. This is two scissor blades. Comes together. People like to use it when they make like cooked chicken breast, and you want to cut it up into strips like for fajitas. And it is also, slide that back over there, for salads. I'm going to try to start at the end. And I am making kind of ribbons of lettuce that I'm going to pile up. Now, this is, you might think, why aren't you just using a knife? Well, that's because I have this, but if you're cutting a lot of lettuce and you have this in your bowl, what's really neat is you just go into the bowl like that and cut it up. And it is a neat tool to use. And we're going to have some lettuce there. I'm going to cut another couple of leaves. Hammer keeps coming in here. He's had his supper, but he just doesn't agree that his dinner is done yet. He keeps inspecting the kitchen. Inspecting the kitchen. You know, you might think sometimes some tools that it might get your children in the kitchen with you. It might get your husband if you allow him in the kitchen. Or it might get the wife in the kitchen if the husband is doing all of the cooking. So some of the tools are fun to use and can be engaging to the family to get them in the kitchen helping with dinner. I told you I was going to pull some of these out. These are my jalapenos. We'll get the rest of these out. I tell you what, I don't know about you, but I love when I empty a jar, but it just seems like the minute I empty a jar, there comes its replacement. Bigger than the one that went out. So there's our juices. I'm going to keep those juices. Some of those are probably going to be in this next. I am going to make, tell you, sometimes this plastic they use This tape, I wish I had some like that at home when I need to seal something up. Excuse me. It's this allergy season is starting. I don't know about you where you live, but I think we got all the pollinating starting all over again. Excuse me 1 minute. Starting all over again. Excuse me 1 minute. I got some sizzling going on. I know some cooking is starting for us. Might have to stop and get something to drink. But I got my cherry tomatoes, the little grape tomatoes, and this is my manual food processor. Instead of bringing out the big electric food processors, Pampered Chef has come out with a hand crank manual food processor. Now, I used this yesterday, and I'm using it tonight. It is dishwasher safe. This part, move my onion over here. Well, I need my onion. This part is dishwasher safe. This part, you just take a damp cloth and clean the bottom off. And if you clean it right after you use it, you never have any kind of problem. Sounds good. Everything sounds nice and good. Making sure everything's nice and tight. Now, I'm going to tell you, people have a bad feeling about pressure cookers sometimes because they've heard stories of explosions. Those are the kind that one puts on their stove and they hook up themselves. This is engineered in such a way that there is no way for that lid to come off. It just will not make pressure and do that. Now, I'm not using a lot of onion for my salsa, but I'm going to put some of it in there. Hammer must be bothering Bob out in the living room too. I don't know what's going on. He just acts like he never gets enough food, and you can tell by looking at him, he gets plenty of food. Now, one thing my mama always liked to do was she used pepperoncini juice in her salsa, and I'm going to use some jalapeno juice. I'm very sorry about that. Now, you use the hand crank. And we're going to crank it up. It's got multiple blades in here. I had a feeling that one piece of big piece of skin would not work very well. All right, I turned that off for a minute because I had to get some water and clear my sinuses. I do not know what is out there, what is getting me. So I apologize for the coughing. I'm still working on my salsa. I do like it to be a little bit, probably shouldn't have gotten so adventurous with putting everything in it at one time. But I kind of wanted to make sure it got all flavored together. But look at there. The minute I say something, I'm dead. I guess I kind of speed it up too. And look, in no time, I went from thinking, oh man, that's not working well, to it is done and completed. And I just got to thinking, I have my Enrichable sitting here, that this, and I should not put my arm up there because we don't want to mess up the lid. But I do, feels like a perfect thing to lean on. It is getting nice and warm. The manual food processor, comes with its own lid so that you can actually store this in the refrigerator just like this. But I have my little bowl that I want to put our homemade salsa. Got some of that juice. Well, let me put this on the bottom now and put this all back. Remember, I'm going to give this a quick rinse in the sink tonight. I'll go ahead and say, where did my little towel go? It's right here. I can just give this a quick wipe. Look at that. And I've got my salsa has been made. Come on. So, there we go. Our little bit of salsa for our street tacos. Gonna dice up. This is the Tuco knife. It is, we have two different kinds of knives. You have these steel ones where the tang goes all the way through. It's one piece of metal. And then we have what are our coated knives too. And they are, let me tell you, super sharp. Sadly, I know how sharp they are because I have cut myself. Luckily not with this big knife, but I have cut myself with the smaller knife. And you always have to remember, you can hurt yourself as much with a dull knife as you can with a sharp knife. Let me take, since I do have my salsa in a nice container, we'll just move that and put our chopped onion. Try to break that up a little bit. I'm going to use my knife blade to pick the rest of that up. So there's my chopped onion. I have that ready. I have my salsa ready, my lettuce, my cheese from earlier today. I am so happy I have an entire Tupperware with plenty of cheese in it. Now my pressure cooker's still working. And here I've got my rice. The 15 minutes are up. And I'm going to bring the rice out. Give it a look. I can see just from the whiteness of it that I'm not quite there yet. I am not quite there yet. Oops. And I do see also that I didn't estimate my water correctly. So I'm going to get my little Brita filter. I'm going to give it some more water. Here again, it's an art. Cooking's an art. It's a creation. And just had to tweak this creation a little bit. With a pressure cooker, you really do use less water. And then my niece has the rice cooker steamer that's really nice. I need to remember that my Rockcrok is going to take each, you have to remember each microwave is a little bit different. I need to, we'll cook with the, have some snacks. We'll probably do that with my desserts. We have a popcorn maker, and I have had to work on figuring out how my microwave wants to cook. See that? I want to try to get that rice underneath. Use my little quick, put that back in the microwave, and I'm going to set it for 5 more minutes. We'll try that for a total of 20 minutes in the microwave. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put things on pause for a little while and come back when we get more to pressure and the rice will be done, and we'll put together Tuesday's taco night. Got a quick little video going to show that we have got our countdown going on with our pressure cooker. Here we go. We're down to the last minute on the pressure cooker. Yay! It is done. All right, here we are. I showed you that it had come up to pressure. Has our little red valve is up. It says, do never try, never try to open it with the red valve up. I told you there is a quick release. There it is. You can actually see the steam. And so I'm going to set that to open and let that steam release out of it. It actually was counting up. It's on a 2 now because that's how much time has gone by since it shut itself off. Oh my goodness. Not only does the steam release, but the sweet, sweet smell of that delicious, our delicious, delicious tenderloin. It's finishing. I'm gonna make sure something. I never noticed before on the camera, but this is a good thing for me to notice. The red light is blinking, indicating that it is filming, because one time I filmed an entire cooking segment. I don't remember what I was cooking, but I did not get any of it on film because I had it on pause the whole time. So it's nice to see that little red dot blinking. Okay, my red button just went down. So I'm going to look again because I'm standing backwards to it. So I open it this way. It plays its pretty little music. I look inside and there is my tenderloin done. Gonna set this down. Don't want it to fall. I've got my quick shredders. I'm going to lift the tenderloin out. I'm going to stamp it. Oh, I could tell that was going to be an accident waiting to happen. And now these are little shredders that, and we can see the meat has thawed all the way, and I'm able to shred it. I can smell that good flavor of that. Oh, look, it got a little bit browned a little bit on the bottom. Looks so yummy. And that came straight out of the freezer. So it's one of those things, that pressure cooker, the way it is designed to cook with that pressurized heat. That's all I'm going to do right now for that. The shredded, that pressurized heat works so well. And you've come home, you said, oh no, I forgot to get the chicken out of the freezer. Pressure cooker, it's the way to go. Now I'm going to show you the other design for these. It's so neat. This one, we've got these gaps. You can come in here, put your fork down. You can cut in these thicker slices. They're made to go together. You can choose the one, say you had a brisket, but even this pork roast is a good way to do it. Stab it and then come in here with your knife through each of the tines. And I want you to see some, people are going to say, oh my goodness, how did you cut that and get these perfect slices? You'll just have to say that's just a little secret you have of being your kitchen secret. Now the other, of course, I tell you, I just do not have very many things that I cannot use the words, 2 words, dishwasher safe. And it is just me and Bob, but I tell you what, I can put it in there and do a quick wash, and I'm a happy, happy camper. Dishpan hands, no, not for me. So the neat thing is these have a magnet in them and they store together, just married right together. You see how that's the only way they come apart. So, gonna put the top back on this because I've got to open the microwave. And also, okay, let's remember how this goes. Close it this way. But it's got pressure. That's the cool thing. It is still hot in there. I have cooked things before where I had it done, I shut it back in there, and it kept it hot because it was on pressure. The heat itself, the steam, can create even more pressure. You could take the lid, put the lid back in our microwave just to keep it safe. Oh my goodness, look at my rice. Oh, let me get this. Let me come over here. Turn the camera just a little bit. Hammer's taking my spot. He thought, oh, she moved out of the way. Let me get to the food. Yeah, I wish I had myself a little bit bigger of a counter. Of course, the minute it got a foot bigger, I'd want it 2 feet more. All right, so I'm gonna lift this up because I got my plate there. How am I gonna plate anything up if I can't get to my plates? Put my knife over here. Bob always worries about me dropping a knife and cutting my foot. Oh my goodness, look at here. Here we go. I got this delicious. It looks just like the restaurant, Mexican restaurant rice. No beans tonight, but we've got our street tacos. Are these not about the most adorable things you've ever seen? I tell you, I didn't know what they were marketing them as when I first saw them in the grocery store. But I said, I got to have those. Those are like little baby tortillas. And then I read on them and they called them street tacos. So this time I got my sour cream out that I talked about at breakfast. And I'm going to put me some sour cream on there. I'm going to get some of this pork. Put me a little. And that's the thing about these street tacos size. You can't put that much in them. They're small. You can put a couple. That'd be a good way to sample some different types of tacos. But I tell you, one place Bob and I agree, we do not like the idea of a fish taco. But that might be because we just really not fish people. And I'm not a fish person because I just don't cook it well. Okay, this one I'm going to put a little bit of pork on. And then I'm going to get some of my salsa, my fresh salsa that I made, some more of my lettuce that I shredded, and my cheese that I shredded this morning. Gotta have some of my cheese. Put a little dab on the edge. And these, I have made quesadillas with these little street tacos. They are just so cute. So there you go. Instead of a hard-shelled Taco Tuesday, we got the soft, sour cream. We've got the soft shell, used our Rockcrok, made a delicious Spanish rice, cooked our frozen pork tenderloin in our pressure cooker. So delicious. It is really good. Really, really, really good. And so here's Karen Hazelwood, Karen's Cooking, wishing that you had a happy Taco Tuesday.